when we need you and when she needs you. And you know, I always think of the expression, it takes a village. You're our village, and we really do appreciate. I mean, I look around the room and I see people who have driven Grandma to hair appointments, who have picked me up from the airport, who have called me when something doesn't seem right with my grandma. Thank you, Tima, for that. And visited her in the hospital and sat with her in the emergency room and sent her cheery cards and all the wonderful things that all of you guys do. I know that Grandma appreciates it, and it means so much to all of us because we can't, as much as we'd like to be with her 24/7, it's just not possible since we don't live here. So
one more thing, and invited her for holiday dinners.
And invited her for holiday dinners. Exactly. So you've really included her in your lives, and we appreciate it, and we thank you. And now a few words about my grandma. This is from me. My earliest memories. Include my grandma and grandpa. They were always around.
Madison, can you go in my purse?
I'll just have mascara all over. They were always around, and we were always spending time with them. I think of the smell of Grandma's cooking when we got into the elevators. Those of you who live in the building can probably attest. If you've been there long enough, you can probably attest to that. The Saturday lunches that we had out, followed by shopping days or other expeditions. The hours of card games and playing pretend. And all the many memorable trips that we took, whether it was Decorah, Washington, D.C., Oklahoma, Israel. And now we fast forward a generation.
That's okay.
Say pack it. I can stand up here and cry all day. To see our children, the next generation, cuddling with her and being close to her and making up their own name for her, Bama. And it's so special. I feel like I've been really fortunate to have the kind of relationship that's not so common between a grandchild and a grandparent. And now it's gone to the next generation. You guys all know what a special person she is. When I called the hospital the last time she was there, she wasn't there half an hour and they were raving to me about her. So she's just that kind of person. I mean, you just can't help but love her. Love you, right? And clearly that's why all of you are here and are part of her lives. Warm, kind, friendly, easygoing. And we all know the tragedies that she's had in her life. And yet, when I talk to her on the phone, she tells me how lucky she is. Because she has us, and we feel lucky to have her. But I think the most important lesson I've learned from Grandma, from you, Grandma, is that the love that you give is what you get back in life, and I will carry that with me always. If there is anyone, and Marilyn, I know you have something that you
raise us in many occasions. I could go on and on with anecdotes about, times we had and so forth, but one thing that sticks out in my mind is when I spent 1 year of high school at Washington High School, which is just a few blocks away from where she lives, and they knew that Grandma and Grandpa knew that I didn't like the food in the cafeteria. So they would actually pick me up for lunch, take me out for lunch almost every day.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes I'd walk over there and she would have a hot lunch waiting for me. And so, that's just one example of how giving and thoughtful you were to your grandchildren. by taking care of us in that way. So, but once again, it's just so nice to be here at this occasion today with you. You mean the world to me, so.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I want to ditto what Lainey and Ron have already said, and I'm so thankful of all the support that she receives here, because we don't live here and it's hard for us because we would want to be with her 24/7 and can't. And I am, Sylvia has asked, she's endured some hardships, and I said, but you're here because I see what you do for my children, and that love that you give them and the way they respond to you is just, it's priceless. It's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for that. And it just, we're so lucky and fortunate, and I'm so glad that we get to celebrate you and honor you this way, because you give so much to so many, and it's so easy for you, but it's so, it means so much to us, and we love you very much, and I'm very lucky to have you in our lives. And that was, when I first met Ron in 1986, Grandma and Grandpa came to take us out to dinner at Madison, so that was one of my first introductions to the Padzensky clan. After meeting Grandma and Grandpa, I was like, this is a nice, good family. It was like, so I was very lucky I got to meet Grandpa, so yeah. Thank you.
With the family and all of you, so thank you again. For those of you that have not been to any of our other family events, you may not know this, but I could stand up here and talk for hours. So I'm going to make it quick, but I mean, it's going to be very difficult to make it quick because I just have so many great things and memories.
Take your time.
They'll kick us out.
Sometimes this place closed. So many great memories and things that I have shared throughout my life with my grandma here, and as we were saying, she was a huge part of our lives, especially after our father passed away, and my mom did an amazing job raising 3 kids by herself, and we've all done very well, and we wouldn't probably be where we are in our lives and have our wonderful wives and children if it weren't for the support, of course, of our mother and our grandma and grandpa, and how involved they were in our lives, and just letting my mom have some of her own life, so having us sleep at their house all the time and coming over and visiting, and being able to do things as opposed to just having to sit home alone with 3 kids all the time. My grandma and grandpa were very, very always around and very supportive, and bishops every Sunday night, and shopping and being together, and then after moving away from Cedar Rapids, I spent 2 summers living with my grandma and grandpa after we moved away to Chicago, and they say everything you need to learn in life you learn in kindergarten. I'd say everything I've learned in life I've learned from my grandmother and my grandfather. I mean, they're just 2 of the most amazing people, and my grandma is just such an amazingly strong woman, and like everybody said, all the things that she's endured and lived through and gone through and seen. I mean, gosh, when we were just looking at the history that's happened in the last 95 years, it's just incredible to think, what she has seen and lived through, and I've just learned so many things about how to respect life and people and be kind and as generous as I can, and try to give my kids as much as I can, just like they did. And just want to say thank you for being such a great inspiration to us and being such a great example for us to follow. So thank you.
Great, brand everything. And I feel very, very, very lucky to be a part of that. I look at, when I get a compliment about how my children act, you can look back and think it's because of how they were raised and how they were loved and how they were treated and respected and whatnot. It all comes back to the foundation of this family that I am so blessed to be a part of. And the only thing I could think of is, in everything she's seen in 95 years, if I look back and think of what matters most today, it's her family and her grandkids and those of the people in this room. And that's the most important thing. And without that, you can put a smile on your face or get through the day, it doesn't matter. And so that puts everything for me in perspective. I know what's most important in my life, and that is Mama. Everybody else. So I just feel very lucky, and I get tears that my girls can be a part of this wonderful thing. So.
Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming. No,
not
that I won't say anything.
Still talk, Mom.
Well, all my married years, Grandma always was a good cook, and whatever I have them for Grandma and Grandpa for dinner, my in-laws for dinner, Eddie would say, not as good as Sippa's, not as good as Sippa's, my cooking. And then I'd make a chocolate cake, toil for hours, not as good as my wife's, not as good as my wife's.
saying that.
So, right, and now the next generation makes the chocolate cake, and everybody, my daughter-in-laws, it's such a pleasure. They're making Grandma's chocolate cake, and I'm there to see them say, not as good as Sylvia's, it's Grandma's. So every generation is going to remember Grandma's chocolate cake, and we can't do it like you do, like Eddie loved.
And Sylvia's niece from Iowa City. My father-in-law, Paul Cratchmer, and Uncle Eddie were first cousins. We met when they came to our wedding in Houston. And we had been here. My husband told us about Aunt Sylvia. She was such a princess, and Uncle Eddie was quite outspoken. Which was true. Well, they ended up with all the things that the mother of the bride has to do. They were their favorite people. They knew Aunt Sylvia was so sweet and did all the right things. Uncle Eddie was honest. Anyway.
Why are people laughing about that?
He had a fun tongue. You never knew what was going to come out.
So, to me, the main thing about her is the love that just hangs from her voice. Whatever she said, it just drips. Often I bring friends from Iowa City to come in and see her. Maybe we'll go to the Greek dinner or something, and they all know, everyone and all of my friends know about Aunt Sylvia. And even a friend in New York just wrote in, my children send you their very best wishes. I just heard this weekend about the nurses at Cottage Grove who brought in their families to meet her on their day off. And well, of course, somehow everyone knows how special you are. Your warmth, your brain hasn't suffered at all. You remember and understand and ask us about things in our lives. I've always thought the key to her existence has been her flexibility. I don't think there's a time that we've made plans that I don't, let's say I'm going to pick her up at 11 in the morning, that I'm calling when I'm leaving and she thinks I must be in the lobby calling us, Aunt Sylvia, I'm just leaving now. That's all right, darling. You know, whenever you get here, it's fine. Flexibility. We all need that. Her optimism, obviously her interest in others. When I come here, I see all of the provisions that her grandchildren have researched and given her, mainly that lift chair that she lives in. And I go back and tell my 92-year-old friend in Iowa City about all these innovations. And Sylvia said, I'll look on the label and I'll see who made that chair. Or the Lifeline that now works even when you're not at home, works from anywhere. I need to find that company. Then we've had the privilege of growing older together. the calcium chews, the candy calcium that Vita somebody mix. I was taking 2 calcium a day because of osteoporosis. We were both taking Fosamax together. I've taken her to Chicago when one suitcase that doesn't weigh very much is full of Depends, and now I have my own Depends. Now her grandchildren and the relatives, I just acquired the need to use a cane in the last 10 days, and everybody knows how to help me because you've been trained by Aunt Sylvia and your care for her. The great-grandchildren. I would say I brought her into Chicago for Mother's Day and sometimes for the high holidays. And I would bring her to my daughter's house. And then someone from the family would come to get her. Elliot and Miles, could you stand up first? I know you have, just stand up so everyone can see how tall you are. They hang on her. She is there and they are hanging on to her. You can sit down now. I mean, these big, strapping lads. And then this morning when Jamie so kindly rode over with us and extended her arms so I could hold on, and she said how wonderful the boys are with her, the 3 boys. And I said, who are the 3 boys? Elliot, Miles, and Josh. Well, Jamie, sweet, you were also one of those people hanging on to her when I brought her here. And I don't see, my grandchildren are 7 and 8. Linda, I've taken Aunt Sylvia, we met at a delicatessen, and Linda said, they don't pay attention to me. You know, they just pay attention to Sylvia. I got you 2 cards.
My pleasure.
This one says, Happy 95th. And this one says, may you live to be 120. And if you would just all who join with me in the Shehecheyanu, Baruch atah
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, who has kept us alive and sustained us and enabled us to reach with you this happy day. Beautiful.
I'm Marilyn Sippy, but we figured, you know, she was Marilyn, I'm Marilyn, we'll do it as a pair. And the invitation said that we were supposed to come with a poem, a memory, or a photo. And so I'm coming with a thing and a memory. And Sylvia may or may not remember this, but I had occasion to send a last condolence note. And she told me afterwards she was just so pleased that I'd done it. And I thought, yeah, right. So then when the next holiday came, I decided I would send a greeting card because I was sure that they could use some extra cheer. And unfortunately at that time, I'm old enough that you don't go to the store and buy cards. You either have to buy them through some temple store or some catalog or something or other. And so I made one, and I checked my basement. I don't have the exact one that I sent you first because we had a flood in our basement once and they're all gone. But anyway, they were from when they were Ditto Master carbons, that purple ink that smelled good in the school papers. And it was homemade, and this was one that was a misprint that didn't come out dark enough, but it would have had color in it if you'd gotten one and so on. And this one shows up a little better. And I hand drew it, which isn't the greatest art, but you know, the message was good and all that stuff. And lo and behold, in the return mail from the first one I sent, I received this beautiful sort of cardboard card with blue on it and gold trim, and in the middle of it was this medallion minus the necklace part and the part around it. that was from Jerome's that I got later. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. And it has a dove of peace on the front, and it says, "Live peaceably with all men." And of course, people joked and said, "How about the women?" I said, "Come on already, you know?" And so I wrote a thank you note because I figured I sent a card, but I got more than a card, I got a gift, so I wrote a note. And then when I saw her, I said, "No, Sylvia, you know, this is a bit much, but thank you very much. Talk about generosity." And she said, "Well, but be sure to send me a card for the next holiday." And I said, "Well, maybe I send you 5 years and then I get another medallion?" You know. And talk about gracious. She said, "No," she said, "if I want to send you a card and I've seen you wearing the medallion, I will send you a card with a medallion again." Yeah, and there's 2 more at home, but they're Hanukkah ones. And just beautiful. I wore them all the time. I still wear them. I wore this one today because it fit better with the outfit. But everybody mentioned a whole gob of things. But I'm not even family. And nobody, I mean, you all said she was gracious and kind and nice. But somehow the combination of the generous and gracious is just beyond. And we could say, every one of us could say 100 things, but you probably want to go home sometime.
Yeah, right.
I saw this morning, and this is a poem by Eric Kingston that I think, and I'm going to paraphrase the beginning, dedicated to Sylvia, who showed her family and friends what true strength is. And it's titled, "A Woman of Valor."
Oh, yes.
A woman of valor makes the world change. Her strength is the content that guides through the days, defined by her actions that bring light to all dreams. Valor is something that's defined by her deeds. Her valor is golden, sparkled and gray. She stands up to the challenge, no matter the way. It can't be held back or defined by her age. Yes, a woman of valor makes the world change. For valor's not held by the young or the old, but by the deeds of the heart that give and unfold. It's merit and honor that hold no disguise, like the creation of being in the blessed Holy One's eyes. For valor is the color of the song of her soul, as she changes, creates, and turns light into gold. Divine is her presence, be it joyous or sad, for only her heart will know the depths of her soul that nurtures and blossoms and forever unfolds, and holds in its essence new life and new gain. Yes, Sylvia, you're a woman of valor who makes the world change.
Sylvia was paid by Ed, who every time her name was spoken would come alive with joy. This woman inspired such great love, not only from us who are gathered here, but from Ed, who loved her dearly and loves her even yet today, because she's Sylvia.
George has come to see me every single day. Rain or shine, snow or whatever, there was a day that goes by that George doesn't come to visit me, and she loves me and she prays for me, and I look forward to seeing her every day.
Sylvia, our dear Sylvia.
This is from
Linda's sisters. Linda and the
who
sisters.
grew up with.
And we go back so many years. When Jerry first came to the house, we were all young and excited to get rid of Linda.
Especially Marilee, because she wanted a room.
Marcia had to make onion rings. I played cards to the back rooms.
Yeah, we played cards.
Susie with the cards. I mean, we were treating him like a king, so he would take Linda.
He was
So you could get a room.
No, he was the first guy in our family because our father died when we were young.
That too.
Yes.
That was
He
mostly-
said when he lifted the toilet seat, it creaked. It hadn't been lifted for a long time.
He was funny, and he came to the house, and it was like, he thought he had a harem, which he did, of course.
He loved us
He
girls.
walked in the door, and we were there to
Be all over.
wine him and dine him, fall all over him,
Yes.
and Mother with the steaks, remember?
Yes.
Everything was to please Jerry.
And Linda was
Yes.
working as a cashier at the
Sunset.
grocery store.
Oh, yeah, so we were in charge. We loved it, and we did too. So our dear Sylvia, there's so much to say and so much to praise. You're just so amazing. We'd need at least 7 days. Your family and grandkids and great-grandkids and friends beyond compare, they want to cherish their memories that you created with your care. The meals and chocolate cakes and competition with us all, but you beat the best of us. You did. And your expertise did not stall. She was good at everything in the kitchen, as we all know. And I remember I'd have handwritten notes from you when I'd come to visit you with Ken, and you'd sit and give me recipe after recipe, and it was really special. Anyhow, you are so patient and loving, and everyone flocks to you. You attend mitzvahs near and far. Anything she could come to, she's done.
Yeah.
Joyous through and through. You have kind words for those near and dear. Your love and patience take away all fear. Your home is a sanctuary for you to comfort all. Everyone comes there. They could hear your call. Your knitting and crocheting are the best, bar none. The clothing for dear ones you made with smiles for everyone. You love to shop. Well, many of us do too. But whoever went with you, they had great fun too. Sylvia, no one is more adored. If there's anyone more loving, we would be floored. We come here today from near and far to show you our love for you, Sylvia, our star. Happy 95th from you.
Joshi, who is right now in the Adirondacks in upstate New York, started off.
This party and this home and this weekend are for you, Mama. Because who else in this room is someone's brother's father's mama? We can stand around and talk about how great Sylvia is all day long. But look at this, perhaps grandkids is 6 people strong.
Will you reread that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll reread that, but you'll see Josh up close after. So Josh says, this party and this poem and this weekend are for Bama, because who else in this room is someone's mother's father's mama? We could stand here and talk about how great Sylvia is all day long, but look at this. Her pack of great-grandkids is 6 people strong. So, I may not be the cutest great-grandchild anymore, but I think it's worth reminding you what I've been good for. When I was born, your title of grandma was expanded by the word great. And it was my baby talk that made you Bama, a name that is truly first rate.
Bama is a woman of many talents and surprises. She's always starting up her day before the sun even rises. Once you've had a matzo ball soup, it might be hard to believe that she can also bake, but nothing in this entire world is better than our chocolate cake.
See? When it comes to cards, Bama is always ready, willing and able. The best memories have been formed in the den around the card table. Whether it's gin rummy or casino or rummy cue that we play, we can count on fun with Bama for the whole day.
Mama, talking to you on the phone always brightens our mood, but we love when you come visit because we get to eat lots of delicious food. Nothing can beat your potatoes and standing rib roast, but it's hugging and kissing you towards which we look forward the most.
So many of you have loved and cared for Bama between our family's short stay. And that means the world to us because we live so far away. Bama, your love-filled heart and kind soul are very, very so alive. I would celebrate that this wonderful woman is finally 95.
We love you, Bama. And coming up next, we have an amazing, amazing part of the program that Elliot, Bama's oldest great-grandson, has worked very hard on for many, many hours. And I think you're all going to enjoy it very, very much.